What is stretching? If you go ask a yoga instructor, they're going to give you an answer that describes the feeling you should have when you stretch. A feeling of euphoria, of relaxation. But that doesn't really tell you what stretching is. That's the equivalence of saying that driving is going from point A to point B without ever mentioning a steering wheel, a gas pedal, or the brake. I think you missed the point of what driving is. Even my textbook on kinesiology wasn't much of a help on this matter, because while it did go into the technical aspects of stretching, it isn't the most translatable material because it doesn't need to be. That's not its job. It's supposed to be more a technical manual as opposed to an easily translatable guide to what stretching is. Then it happened one day. When doing a standard stretch, I felt a pulse, and then a second, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then so on and so forth. And with each pulse, my leg became much less stiff. It started to just loosen up really, really quickly. These pulses fascinated me because I had never experienced something quite like it. To illustrate what exactly just happened, I'm going to use this monopod to represent a muscle fiber, and this door represents a bone. When you're stretching, your goal is to alleviate the tension in these locks, because when you do that, you allow the muscle fiber to get longer. So when you're tight, this lock is much tighter, where I can theoretically move the monopod, but it's much harder to do. It is not an easy thing to do. I'm having to really push to move it. If this were a muscle fiber and I was moving it, let's say I was doing an exercise of some sort, like a squat, and it was as tight as this lock is right now, that is how you end up straining a muscle, because the lock doesn't want it to move. When you move, your muscle fibers are changing length. And so if you have a fiber which does not want to become longer, and the only other option is to have the bone break or to have the fiber itself break. And neither of those options are particularly ideal for your health. It's not super obvious, but if you watch really closely, you can observe my knee slowly get closer to the ground. And each time it does get closer to the ground, that is when one of my locks are opening up. As I was stretching, I was actively pulling against my foot, putting pressure on it, causing these locks to open up under that pressure. And then once open, my muscle fiber can in fact elongate in a safe way, both preventing injury and enabling a much broader range of motion. Now this is a bit of an exaggeration. Muscle fibers don't go from being this big to being, that big. That just does not happen. But I think this is a really great example of showing how stretching allows a muscle to have more range of motion. Because as you stretch, you are slowly opening these locks up, which then enables the muscle fiber to get longer. And it's just such a non-obvious thing to occur, at least non-obvious when you have it in your body and you're trying to understand what's going on. But when you can see it like this in front of you, it's much more apparent. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below, and feel free to share this with your friends. They would really mean a lot and help me out a bunch. That's all I have for you now. Thanks for watching and have a great day.